We do have a couple microphones, so please just raise your hand. We'll get over to you. Give your name and affiliation before asking your question. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach, and we'll open it to questions for the student athletes. We'll dismiss them after that, and we'll leave Coach here, have some questions for him. Locker room is open right now. It will be open until 12:33. Coach, if we can get an opening statement.
Congratulations to Florida Atlantic. Good basketball team, played well. I thought when they made shots at the right time. I thought they came up with some really big offensive rebounds at a time when we really needed to finish our defensive possession. And defensively, they played hard. So I just really congratulate them. Certainly proud of the effort that these guys have given us all year through tough times at times with injuries. But and when it ends like this, it's always disappointing because we won it all and came up short. But proud of our team, too, for being in this position with a chance to move on. But, again, tonight, Florida Atlantic, they won, they played hard, and they deserve to move on.
All right, we have senior guard Santiago Vescovi. We have senior guard Josiah-Jordan James. Take questions for either of those two at this time. Just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Give your name and affiliation before asking the question. We'll start in the back. Yep.
Joe Rexford from The Athletic. Guys, what did they do better offensively against you guys in the second half?
Start with Santiago and then go to Josiah-Jordan.
First of all, they definitely made shots. They made the shots they had to make. Like Coach said, they got big offensive rebounds. They ran a couple actions that they're really good basketball actions. They knocked them down, and I think the biggest thing was offensive rebound for them.
I just agree with what Santi said. I can't really add on to anything, but just echo what he said.
Stay in the back. Do you have a question? Yep.
Sure.
Go ahead.
This is for the players. I mean, how disappointing is this, given the way the season started, for you to have it end right here?
Let's go with Josiah-Jordan first and then Santiago.
Well, I mean, we've been through so much in the past, however long the season's been going on. And I feel like a lot of people don't know all the things that we've been through internally. And so even to make it this far is a blessing. I mean, people had counted us out after the second game that we lost to Colorado. They told us our season was over then. But, we didn't hear any of that. We heard it, but we didn't listen to it. We stayed resilient. And I think that if you guys or everybody outside of our locker room knew all the things that we went through, they'd be, proud of us. I know we're proud of ourselves. We know we wanted more, but there's so much stuff that went on that, injuries and people in and out the lineup where a lot of people would just quit. But I give a lot of credit to my teammates and our coaching staff. Nobody in that locker room gave up on us. And I'm just so proud of my guys that we were able to reach it. Obviously, I'm disappointed, but I'm proud that we were able to come this far.
He just said it.
Okay. Any more questions for the student athletes? We'll come up here in the front.
Troy Provo here in the Maryville Daily Times. Josiah, I know y'all are obviously still digesting this one, but when you look back at that first half, how much do you guys think that'll just kind of be like y'all feel like that was a missed opportunity considering how many shots they missed and y'all were only able to go up, I think, 5 or 7 points at halftime?
What was the question again? I mean, I think it was obviously, we went to halftime with a 5-point lead. Obviously, we missed open shots. They missed open shots. But, we were disappointed in the way we played. We knew we had to play tougher, but, we were up 5 points, so.
We do have people on Zoom. I'm going to go to Dan Tortora, who has his hand raised on the Zoom call. So, Dan, I'm allowing you to talk, so hold on. So go ahead if you have a question.
Yeah, just as hard as this is right now for you guys in this moment, for both of the student athletes, what do you reflect upon this season that you are proud of? I know you said a lot of things happened this season that not a lot of people know about. So when you look at that adversity, what are you proud of?
Let's start with Santiago, and then we'll go Josiah.
Definitely everything Josiah said. We've been through a lot of things, and we were in a position where most other people would just quit. They'll just give up on the season and just wait for the next one to come up. And I never had that feeling from this team. I think the whole team, through adversity, we stuck together. We couldn't get it done today, but during the whole season, I think we all stuck together. We had each other's back, and we just fought. I think we fought through everything we could. And, yeah, we're disappointed that we lost today, but I think this team gave everything it could.
I'm just proud of the way people stepped up. I'm proud of the way Jemai Meshack stepped up. I'm proud of the way Julian Phillips stepped up. I'm proud of the way Tobe Awaka stepped up. I'm proud of the way Jonas Adu stepped up. I'm proud of the way B.J. Edwards stepped up. Like, guys were put in positions, you know, that they weren't particularly ready for, and they were thrown in the fire, and I feel like they handled it the best as they could, and they came in each and every day with, you know, their hard hats on, expecting to get better, trying to get better, and that's all you can hope for out of your teammates. And we just got a group of guys who are just resilient, and they just want to keep getting better, and I'm just proud of all of my teammates, but especially the guys who had to step up and play bigger roles and bigger minutes.
Okay, we're going to dismiss the student athletes at this time. Once again, Tennessee locker room is open until 12:33. At this time, if we have questions for Coach Barnes, once again, just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone over. We'll start over here on the right side. Let's start on the end, and then we'll go into the aisle.
Ryan Shumpert, Rocky Top Insider. Just from your vantage point, what went wrong in that 18-2 run in the second half?
Well, I thought one in the first half they had some shots that we were lucky we dodged that, but when they started scoring, our offense wasn't very good, and we gave up too many drives, and then along with that, offensive rebounds where we let them get downhill, and a couple situations where we did a better job in the second half staying down on shot fakes early in the first half. That's why we were getting into so much rotation, because we were leaving our feet. Went under a few ball screens, but I thought offensively, and we needed to continue to put pressure on them at the rim, whether it was throwing it inside or whether it was driving the ball, and we didn't do enough of that. Where we got the ball there, we needed to finish more to continue to keep pressure on them to where they had to guard us, and then they got some separation. They got relaxed, and they're a really good shooting team. They shoot it, but the offensive rebounds were big, and we normally don't do that, but we did today.
We'll stay on the aisle there in row 2.
Rob Lewis with VolQuest.com. Just, Coach, you cited the offensive rebounds, but just the rebounding overall. I mean, I think pre-game, myself and a lot of people would have thought that you would have had a big advantage on the glass, and they out-rebounded you in the game.
Well, again, we wanted to, and obviously, we needed Jemai Meshack. You saw what he was able to do with driving the ball. We needed more of that from more than one player. We needed our post players because they were staying out there really. We could get the ball inside if our post guys would get the post up, and then they did start digging down a little bit more. But early in the game, it was wide open. They were really hugging up to our perimeter guys, which a lot of teams have done that to us this year, and something we expected today. And the only way you're going to make them change is if you're really scoring at a high clip. And then when we got there a couple times in the second half, the ball should have been passed out, and because we needed to make some of those perimeter shots, and when they put 3 guys around the ball, it's got to get out of your hands. But again, we needed to be more aggressive going at the basket, I thought, in the second half, and then they did. They were, again, they didn't change a whole lot other than what they were doing in the first half. They run what we'd call a little bit of notch action, but I just thought that we allowed them to get downhill and not guard the ball the way we needed to.
We'll go back to the end of the second row, third
Why
row.
did y'all decide to stick with the 2 big lineup in the second half and not go 4 guards?
Why 2 big lineups? Because, again, the way they were guarding us, and, again, when we go more guards, we don't feel like we get that much more dribble penetration out of it. We need to get more of that. But, and, again, we felt like, early in the game you saw we were scoring at the rim. And we started and we should have kept going at it, which we were trying to. But then when they dig in there, we got to kick it out. And you know what? When you talk about games and substitution, we're around these guys so much, and we read their body language. We know where we feel like they are, and some of it has to do with that answer, not just on the offensive end, but it's the defensive end too. We had some breakdowns with certain players today that where we just felt like that they weren't locked in as much as they needed to be, and then some guys were in, arguably one of the biggest games of their lives, and you could just body language. We just didn't feel like they were locked in as much as we needed them to be, and you'd expect them to be, but it's a big stage.
Go back a couple rows.
Yeah, Rick, you said after the Texas game in January that you wanted to see this team improve through February. Do you feel like that ever happened? And if not, why not?
Well, Tom Satkowiak told me we haven't had a healthy team since February the 8th with everybody healthy. And so if you ask me, did we improve, we did. Because when you have to tweak and change stuff as much as we had to just to put guys in a position to be comfortable, I mean, we went through a period. I mean, Jamal Mashak hasn't played point guard until February since he's been here. I mean, he's done it in practice in terms of but to put him out there where he's really trying to learn how to run a team, and where he had given us where he had been so good rebounding the ball, playing off the ball. Tyreek Key has never played point guard until he came to Tennessee, and again, he would tell you that he's more of a scorer, but yeah, there's no doubt we've improved, or we wouldn't be here today. And the fact is, it's always disappointing when you're close to going after the goal that I think we all chase, and that's to be the last team standing. But as a group, we got better. We wouldn't have made it this far.
We're going to come across the room right here in front of me in row 1. Go ahead.
Troy Prohair, Maryville Daily Times. Rick, your seniors go a combined 14 of 50 from the floor. Just as a coach,
Say that again.
Your seniors go a combined 14 of 50 from the floor. As a coach, just how hard is it to watch, a group of guys kind of struggle collectively like that?
It's hard. And I mean, I could sit here and talk about a lot of different things, but the fact is, those guys have been through a lot. They've dealt with Josiah's, I think, dealt with a lot of injuries, but yet he's tried to do everything he could to help this team. And Santi, the same way. Olivier, obviously we wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for what he did the other day. And I'd like to think that, Urosh certainly helped us. He got, again, a little bit too emotional tonight, and it came back on him. But these guys have won a lot of games for us, and it's hard. I'm telling you, it's hard to be in the locker room with these guys when you know how hard they've worked. And I would tell you, they've maxed out in a lot of good ways. And again, would I like to sit here and tell you I wish we had our full allotment of players and teams? Yeah, but we didn't. And I think it's a real compliment to our seniors, because they're the ones that continue to stay together and didn't get down on each other, try to help pull the young guys along with them. But I feel for them, because I know that's not, when they look at it, they're not going to be happy with it. And because, again, it's hard to get here. And but I can only tell you we're proud of this group of seniors and what they've done with our program.
We're going to do 2 more questions. We'll come here on the aisle, and then I'm going to go back to the Zoom call. So here on the aisle.
Rob Lewis from VolQuest.com. Coach, sticking with the seniors, and it may be too soon to answer this question, but assuming that was their last game, 4 guys, one from Uruguay, one from Serbia, one from Finland, and Charleston, South Carolina, come together, got super close. I mean, how are you going to remember that group?
Well, they're special. I mean, because of what they went through the COVID together. The fact that with where college basketball is today, with the transfer portal, and at the end of the year, everybody's got options now to do this or do that. But I will remember that they, in so many ways, just represented the University of Tennessee in a first-class way. They created a great love affair with Rocky Top and our fan base, which I've told many people I think it's the best out there, and they're what we want our program to be about. high character, come from great families, great work ethics, and really of that group, there's not one selfish guy on that group. And what they've done for our program, and we've said when we came 8 years ago, we want to be here every year. There's no question about that. And when it ends, it seems like so abruptly that you look back like tonight. I mean, the Sweet 16 is something to be proud about. But again, when you get there, you want more. You want an Elite Eight. You want a Final Four. You want a national championship game. And the fact that these guys, again, kept climbing and trying to work every year. And I told them in a couple of weeks we'll look back and realize that, they've got a lot to be proud of.
All right, we're going to go to back to Zoom, to Dan. I believe, Dan, you should be on right now.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Coach, you spoke about how hard it is to make this tournament. With so many different conferences represented in the Sweet 16, what can you say about the state of college basketball?
Well, again, this is a game that doesn't matter if players come in and play 1 year and leave or whatever. I mean, there's nothing like college basketball. I mean, when guys leave, new guys emerge, new guys come on. This time of year, those stars are born. And I think that college, there's a lot in our game that we're going to have to talk about and think about. I mean, obviously through the months, people have talked about the transfer portal, the NIL, this, that, whatever. I've always said this, and I've always believed that you've got to build the program the way you want to represent your university, and there's enough guys to do that. And I think you've got to have a great coaching staff. And at Tennessee, we've got the best administrators in the country that they're committed to giving our student athletes the very, very best opportunities and experiences. And you know what? I'd like to think that other universities do too, but I've been doing it a long time, and I know I like to see them all do what we do at the University of Tennessee with our administrators, not just basketball, football, baseball, you name it. And I just think going forward, the game's always going to be a great game. There's nothing that captivates our country like this NCAA tournament, nothing, because every state in our country has a chance to be represented some way, somehow. And a team like Florida Atlantic, I mean, think about what it does for them and their school. And every year there's somebody, like that. Kansas State, team that was picked last in their league. Here their two teams are playing for a Final Four. And that's what makes it March Madness. But don't ever, ever, ever take for granted how hard it is to get here to start with, and then how hard it is to win a game and then another game, because it's really, really hard. But again, I think the game is going to continue to be what it is, and I do think it'll continue to grow and get better.
Coach, we appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Tennessee locker room will be open for 8 more minutes until 12:33. It is currently 12:25.